The Hobbit by J.R.R. Tolkien, Chapter 13, Not at Home, Part 2. Though all the old adornments were long mouldered or destroyed, and though all was befouled and blasted with the comings and goings of the monster, Thorin knew every passage and every turn. They climbed long stairs, and turned and went down wide, echoing ways, and turned again and climbed yet more stairs, and yet more stairs again. These were smooth, cut out of living rock, broad and fair, and up the dwarfs went, and they met no sign of any living thing, only furtive shadows that fled from the approach of their torches, fluttering in the draughts. The steps were not made, all the same, for Hobbit's legs, and Bilbo was just feeling that he could go on no longer, when suddenly the roof sprang high and far beyond the reach of their torchlight. A white glimmer could be seen coming through some opening far above, and the air smelt sweeter. Before them light came dimly through great doors that hung twisted on their hinges and half burnt. "This is the great chamber of Thror," said Thorin, "the hall of feasting of council. Not far off now is the front gate." They passed through the ruined chamber. Tables were rotting there, chairs and benches were lying there overturned, charred, and decaying. Skulls and bones were upon the floor among flagons and bowls and broken drinking horns and dust. As they came through yet more doors at the further end, a sound of water fell upon their ears, and the grey light grew suddenly more full. "There is the birth of the running river," said Thorin. "From here it hastens to the gate. Let us follow it." Out of a dark opening in a wall of rock, there issued a boiling water, and it flowed, swirling in a narrow channel, carved and made straight and deep by the cunning of ancient hands. Beside it ran a stone-paved road, wide enough for many men abreast. Swiftly along this they ran, and round a wide sweeping turn, and behold, before them stood the broad light of day. In front there rose a tall arch, still showing the fragments of old carven work within. Worn and splintered and blackened though it was, a misty sun sent its pale light between the arms of the mountain, and beams of gold fell on the pavement at the threshold. A whirl of bats, frightened from slumber by their smoking torches, flurried over them. As they sprang forward, their feet slithered on the stones, rubbed smooth and slimed by the passing of the dragon. Now, before them, the water fell noisily outward and foamed down towards the valley. They flung their pale torches to the ground and stood gazing out with dazzled eyes. They were come to the front gate, and were looking out upon Dell. "Well," said Bilbo, "I never expected to be looking out of this door, and I never expected to be so pleased to see the sun again, and to feel the wind on my face. But oh, the wind is so cold!" It was. A bitter easterly breeze blew with the threat of oncoming winter. It swirled over and round the arms of the mountain into the valley, and sighed among the rocks. After their long time in the stewing depths of the dragon-haunted caverns, they shivered in the sun. Suddenly Bilbo realized that he was not only tired but also very hungry indeed. It seems to be late morning, he said, and so I suppose it is more or less breakfast time. If there is any breakfast to have, but I don't feel that Smug's front doorstep is the safest place for a meal. Do let's go somewhere where we can sit quiet for a bit. Quite right, said Balin, and I think I know which way we should go. We ought to make for the old lookout post at the southwest corner of the mountain. How far is that? Asked Hobbit. 5 hours march, I should think. It will be rough going. The road from gate along the left edge of the stream seems all broken up. But look down there. The river loops suddenly east across Dell in front of the ruined town. At that point, there was once a bridge leading to steep stairs that climbed up the right bank and so to a road running towards Ravenhill. There is, or was, a path that left the road and climbed up to the post. A hard climb, too, even if the old steps are still there. Dear me, grumbled the hobbit. More walking and more climbing without breakfast. I wonder how many breakfasts and other meals we have missed inside that nasty, clockless, timeless hole. As a matter of fact, 2 nights and a day between had gone by, and not altogether without food, since the dragon smashed magic door, but Bilbo had quite lost count, and it might have been one night or a week of nights for all he could tell. Come, come, said Thorin, laughing. His spirits had begun to rise again, and he rattled the precious stones in his pockets. Don't call my palace a nasty hole. You wait till it has cleaned and redecorated. That won't be till Smaug's dead, said Bilbo glumly. In the meanwhile, where is he? I would give a good breakfast to know. I hope he is not upon the mountain looking down at us. The idea disturbed dwarfs mightily, and they quickly decided that Bilbo and Balin were right. We must move away from here, said Dory. I feel as if his eyes were on the back of my head. It's a cold, lonesome place, said Bomber. There may be drink, but I see no sign of food. A dragon would always be hungry in such parts. Come on, cried the others. Let us follow Balin's path. Under the rocky wall to the right there was no path. So on they trudged among the stones on the left side of the river. And the emptiness and desolation soon sobered even Thorin again. The bridge that Balin had spoken of they found long fallen, and most of its stones were now only boulders in the shallow, noisy stream. But they forded the water without much difficulty and found the ancient steps and climbed the high bank. After going a short way, they struck the old road and before long came to a deep dell sheltered among the rocks. There they rested for a while and had such a breakfast as they could, chiefly cram and water. If you want to know what cram is, I can only say that I don't know the recipe, but it is biscuitish, keeps good indefinitely, is supposed to be sustaining, and is certainly not entertaining, being in fact very uninteresting except as a chewing exercise. It was made by legmen for long journeys. After that, they went on again, and now the road struck westward and left the river, and the great shoulder of the south pointing mountain spur drew ever nearer. At length, they reached the hill path. It scrambled steeply up, and they plodded slowly one behind the other, till at last, in the late afternoon, they came to the top of the ridge and saw the wintry sun going downwards to the west. Here they found a flat place without a wall on three sides, but back to the north by a rocky face in which there was an opening like a door. From that door there was a wide view east and south and west. Here, said Balin, in the old days we used to always keep watchmen, and a door behind leads into a rock-hewn chamber that was made here as a guard room. There were several places like it round the mountain, but there seemed small need for watching in the days of our prosperity, and the guards were made over comfortable perhaps, otherwise we might have had longer warning of the coming of dragon and things might have been different. Still, here we can now lie hid and sheltered for a while and can see much without being seen. Not much use if we have seen Not much use if we have been seen coming here, said Dory, who was always looking up towards the mountain's peak as if he expected to see Smug perched there like a bird on a steeple. We must take our chance of that, said Thorin. We can go no further today. Here, here, cried Bilbo, and flung himself on the ground. In the rock chamber there would have been room for 100, and there was a small chamber further in, more removed from cold outside. It was quite deserted. Not even wild animals seemed to have used it in all the days of Smug's domination. There they laid their burdens, and some threw themselves down at once and slept. But the others sat near the outer door and discussed their plans. In all their talk, they came perpetually back to one thing. Where was Smug? They looked west and there was nothing, and east there was nothing, and in the south there was no sign of the dragon. But there was a gathering of very many birds. At that they gazed and wondered, but they were no nearer understanding it when the first cold stars came out. End of chapter 13. Not at home. Hope you liked it.